We should just change our starting time to 4:35. Never mind that that's a completely awkward time to start the show.
If we do that, we'll go live at 4:40.
I guess that's true. It's just... it's something about you.
We're fashionably late.
Fashionably late.
Why is it something about me?
Well, I mean, with you, everything seems to be about you. You're a very self-centered person. Speaking of which, I guess we're on the Linus Tech Tips show. So.
Hosted by Linus Media Group. Featuring the Linus Tech Tips forum.
Are you implying that I'm projecting?
No. I'm not implying anything.
Because I think you have a very suspicious disposition and you always throw accusations around. It's all about that. All right, speaking of projecting, Google is projected...
It kind of worked.
Not really. The rumor on the street is that Google has basically reached a deal to buy Twitch for $1 billion. That's the video streaming site that we are streaming on right now. This was rumored a while back. Yeah, exactly. This was rumored a while back, but never actually confirmed. And even though a lot of places are reporting that it's a done deal, it still is. Oh, right. We're not actually doing the topic. No. I'm doing call-outs. Yeah. Right, so that's a thing. Also, Ubisoft plans to send a fan to Mount Everest to play Far Cry 4. Copy us much?
Yeah, seriously.
Right? Am I right?
Yeah.
What else we got?
I don't know. Microsoft is planning on merging all of their versions of Windows into one. Just in case you didn't know that was happening. We'll talk about that later.
I should call it Uber Edition. They should call it Barnacules Edition, and it should have, tears on the box. Speaking of which, our guest today is Barnacules.
Correct. British MP wants to punish people for stealing in-game items with real-world punishments like jail. It's kind of a big deal. And
well, the in-game punishments weren't working. Yeah. Like calling them buttholes in the chat.
You're a jerk. Go away.
Please stop.
My mom says to ignore comments from you.
Oh, there we go. Okay, well, if someone didn't have their paws all over my mouse, I'd be able to tell you that today's sponsor is lynda.com, the great, fantastic, awesome, exceptional, wonderful place to learn online with videos. I mean, aside from our channel. You can learn all kinds of things on lynda.com that we don't cover, so I don't really consider them a competitor, I don't really consider it a conflict of interest for me to sponsor them, just like they don't consider it a conflict for me to make an educational video about something and then promote their educational videos. Maybe we should turn this into a bitter rivalry. We should make, speaking of self-centered, we should make Linus.com.
Linus, oh god.
Linus.com. And then we need a picture of me being looking into a book.
But very angry.
Or
I'm
serious.
Looking at this with the most neutral tone possible.
Yeah. Our other sponsor is actually Intel. They're going to have a pretty cool presence at Nerd HQ involving giving money away to charities and giving processors away to cool people like you. And... yay. So we'll tell you more about that. How to win a processor, how to make Intel give $1 to a pretty awesome charity. So we'll cover that later on. What can I do for you?
I told you there'd be people in the chat wondering why I was here because I quit.
Really? Really? Okay, let's be clear. So in a recent video,
I think most of them are joking.
In the H220X video, okay, I asked, okay, a couple things happened that were real and a couple things happened that weren't real. So the things that were real were that the H220X is pretty kick-ass. It performs really well, it's expandable, it's quiet, kick-ass product, great value. Another thing that was real, I did indeed ask Luke to, shave parts of me that I couldn't reach on my own. But I mean, the thing about that is that really what I was talking about was my back. I mean, the coin purse isn't exactly an issue as long as there's some stretchiness to the skin. You can kind of maneuver it the way that you need to.
Have you seen that video where the guys are and they have to shave? It's a YouTube commercial thing. It's like it shows like all the weird things that guys do to their face so they can shave properly.
Right.
And
yes.
they're all like, and they're trying to like flatten out their face so they can shave properly.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like they should have a non-safe for work commercial version of that.
Ooh.
What if they make more money?
You got to be careful saying things like "they should have."
They shouldn't have,
They
but it
shouldn't
would
have.
be funny.
But it would be funny. So I fired Luke for refusing to do that. That part wasn't real. He did not get fired.
It would be fun if you did that though, because then I could make tons of money in the legal system.
Tons of money. You know I don't have enough money for it to be tons of money.
Yeah.
I would run out of money. And then how would you feel?
I can take your totally doesn't exist at all Lambo,
Yeah, exactly.
which would be great because it doesn't exist at all.
You could like, depending on how long you could hold a chair position with your hands in front of you like this, you could drive down the street in the imaginary Lambo.
It's like get a shuffle foot thing going.
Speaking of imaginary and employees screwing over their employers who were just trying to do something cool, this. There's an imaginary game called Yog Ventures, and there's an artist who was originally supposed to work on the project that basically took the $35,000 that was allocated to presumably him, not actually sure, but allocated to the artist, and then went and took a job at LucasArts or Lucasfilm, I think it was Lucasfilm, and basically booked it with $35,000 for what was supposed to be about 6 months of work, but actually ended up being 2 weeks worth of work. This caused the Yogscast folks to basically lose faith in Winter Cool Games and ask for $150,000 of the Kickstarter money to be given to them in trust to take care of the physical prizes, as well as to, it's very unclear. This is all very nebulous right now because it's he said, she said, except she's not talking. So apparently, according to Wintercool, 100,000 of that was supposed to be for miscellaneous things like appearances at trade shows and some promotional activities, as well as hiring a lead programmer. However, right now, basically the project is completely dead. Wintercool is insolvent, they're bankrupt, and Yogscast is not saying much, publicly at least.
So Yogscast is the female in this situation?
I guess so,
He
sure.
said she didn't comment?
Sure, yes.
I just wanted to clarify.
So basically, what's going on now is Yogscast has said, look, there's a lot of inconsistencies in the story that people are being told, but we don't really see the point of issuing a statement right now. It looks like they're going to kind of wait for the dust to settle. But the big question everyone's asking right now is what happened to that $100,000 that wasn't for physical rewards, and what are they going to do? Because up till now, Yogscast has been pointing people towards Wintercool to get refunds, which obviously is not going to happen
when they're bankrupt
at this point.
Yeah.
So let me see if there's anything else that I kind of missed here.
Getting refunds from Kickstarter things isn't really a thing, as far as I can tell.
And as far as I can tell, kickstarting games is just a big problem because, and this is, I mean, honestly, this is the same trap that the Yogscast guys fell into, is they trusted a bunch of guys who were experienced filmmaker, like animation veterans, but didn't necessarily have, and by their own admission, didn't necessarily have the business savvy to actually create a game studio. And so the problem here is that when you put your trust in animators and filmmakers who are great at telling stories and making things look great to make something that they actually don't have any experience doing, you end up with a very good trailer for something that might not be anything like that and might not end up existing at all. So one thing that Yogscast has done is they've given everyone a copy of Kingston's Tug. Kingston's Tug open world game. But some of the backer options, things like named in-game items, they've already said are not or may not be available in that game, and so some people are apparently pissed. They haven't communicated much publicly, like I said, although reading through comments has actually been more enlightening than reading the articles about what's going on, because I've seen people saying, well, hey, I heard from them and they're doing this or they're doing that.
Because apparently Yogscast is commenting behind the scenes a lot. They're talking to backers directly, probably through the Kickstarter platform or other things, instead of making public statements.
Yeah.
Which is...
I get that.
Yeah.
You don't owe an explanation to the people who didn't give you their money at this point.
Yeah, but then if you are actively communicating with the Kickstarter people, that's cool.
So I guess from them, it's just a matter of PR damage control.
Yeah.
Like, how do you keep yourselves from looking any more bad than you already look? Do you make a public apology when, in reality, probably a small fraction, like very small fraction of the people that they would reach with a video blast or like an apology in every video for a week
have actually
even heard of this?
Yeah.
So why bring it up if it's something where they're going to try and figure out a way to take care of these people? I guess we just need to see if they end up resolving it to people's satisfaction. I mean, I see so many ways that this went south. I mean, Wintercool was expecting Yogscast to pimp the game a lot.
Yeah.
And so that they'd get that pre-order revenue, which would help them pay salaries, which would help them actually develop the game that they promised to develop. Yogscast didn't want to. I mean, obviously, if we were funding development of a Linus Tech Tips game where, like, I don't know, like it's like a side-scroller combat game where I like shout, "You're fired!"
Linus Media Group
You're
presents
fired!
a Linus Tech Tips production. Linus shoots things.
You're fired! So if that was the objective, and the game was coming along at a pace I wasn't comfortable with, and a quality level that I wasn't comfortable with, am I going to throw my name behind it more and more and more? Like, on the other hand, if they saw this going south, was there time to
deal with it more properly?
Salvage it, maybe at the time that they renegotiated the contract shortly after the Kickstarter when that artist left? And was there time to kind of terminate it then? I don't know. It's very hard to say whose fault this is without actually having been on the inside of one side or the other, or in reality, probably both. To really know what happened there.
Pretty interesting. There's I talk about a few Kickstarters that I've done for the last while, but one of them, I'm not going to be able to remember the name of it, but I tried to buy it as a present for my dad. I bought it in January of 2012. And the plan was, I bought it on Kickstarter January 2012. That was well within the estimated shipping date. And I was hoping that it would show up for Christmas of 2013. So like Christmas of 2012, I guess, technically. It didn't. It still didn't show up yet. They still haven't even locked down a manufacturer yet. And they still don't have their final prototype done yet. So, I don't know. I used to be like way behind Kickstarters, and I just mostly ignore that whole website now.
Yeah,
Except
well,
for, like,
there was that wonderful potato salad. I got some. Never mind that it was in the mail stuck in customs for 2 weeks. It was delicious.
Oh, God.
I'm just kidding. I did not buy potato salad.
But that is very likely what would happen. It would go bad before it got to you. But I see it for things like that balloon thing that we saw recently, where the guy has already completely designed it, and it's done.
Yeah.
That's like, okay, cool.
It's basically, it's just a pack of pre-attached balloons on 3 plastic nozzles. And the idea is you can fill 100 water balloons in under a minute.
Which is beast.
Nozzle, fill them up, and then you give it a shake, and they all pre-tie. So you can fill up a big thing of them, and it costs like however much for a pack. And I've seen a lot of people going, well, it's like really stupid that it's one-time use, blah, blah, blah. How is that more efficient? It's more efficient because, and people have been like, oh, you should be able to put the balloons back on the thing. I'm like, that's not any faster than tying them by hand. The idea here is that for a couple bucks, let's say you're a scout troop or something, okay? So for like $100, when you organize an event, you can have, however many hundreds of water balloons ready to go in like a few minutes.
Instead of wasting a whole day.
Instead of wasting an entire day having volunteers sit and tie water balloons, when you factor in how much people's time is worth, it's a pretty good deal. I think it's.
And even if you're just a home resident, if it's really nice outside and you want to go play with water balloons, instead of filling up water balloons for half an hour to an hour, you can just be like, tie this thing on 3 or 4 times, and then you're good to go. Like, it's not that bad. And it's already fitted to screw onto your hose, so it's super easy.
This is awesome. This is a Kickstarter that I backed just so that when it doesn't arrive, or when it's a gigantic piece of crap, I can make a video about how stupid backing...
Isn't it not shipping until like 2016 or something?
End of the year next year or something like that.
Okay.
I don't think I have sound. I can't hear it anyway. Hold on.
And somewhere in between is this guy. Introducing JIBO, the world's first family robot. Say hi, JIBO.
Hi, JIBO.
JIBO helps everyone out.
So that wasn't hard-coded.
He's the world's best cameraman. By intelligently tracking the action around him, He can independently take video and photos, so that you can put down your camera and be a part of the scene.
Jibo, take the picture.
Totally out of focus.
Anyway, the point is, if that manages to arrive in 2015, and if it has anywhere near the level of interaction ability...
It's up on the table in that shot, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you have to, like, carry it
Yeah,
around.
you have to, like, move it around and stuff. Like, it's the kind of thing where it's like someone was watching the Jetsons, and they're just like, wow!
Let's do that!
Let's
start an Indiegogo!
Let's make the little, like, cleaner robot, except, like, stationary and sits on the table. And,
Everyone in
like,
Twitch chat is like, NSA, Skynet.
yeah, exactly right. All right. I just got an email from the owner of SwiftTech.
I didn't.
Well, whatever. I'm cooler than you. So I just got an email, but you're going to like this email. Actually, I got 2 emails today that you're going to be pretty stoked on. Yes, it's about that. Yeah. So we have an exciting new project to announce. We are going to be liquid cooling an entire room of computers on a single loop. So we're going to give you guys way more details in the coming weeks. But basically, it's all coming together. I've already got our sponsor confirmed for cases, power supplies, and because we want all the hardware to be somewhat similar, so we're not just Frankensteining every single one of them as a one-off. So we're consolidating on a single case. We're going to be using a Cooler Master N600. We're all going to be using their V750 modular power supplies. They're actually a really good power supply. Hard OCP just did a review on the V series and validated what I was pretty sure we already knew about them, but anyway, they had a review recently. Anyway, so we're getting those. Water cooling is now locked down. So every machine will have an Apogee XL, as well as SwiftTech's full cover with like the lighting backplated, full cover block for an Nvidia graphics card. We are going to have radiators mounted to the systems on quick disconnects, so that in the event that a system does have to be moved, we can disconnect it from the room-wide loop, connect it to its own rad, and move it without interrupting the rest of the machines. We are going to have the radiators mounted outside the building. So the idea here is that because it's been so hot in the office, we will be able to take the heat out of the room with our liquid cooling. Because contrary to what a lot of people think, water cooling doesn't make your room run cooler. Okay?
Just dumps more heat in the room.
Yeah, it dumps the same amount of heat in the room. Basically exactly the same.
I'll go with basically the same.
Basically, it's
exactly
a very, very, very small rounding error. So the point...
But I just can't say exactly.
The point is that removing it from the room is the only way to make your room actually cooler. And when you have a bunch of people editing videos in a room, then that's like
This is his solution for not buying...
air
AC.
conditioning. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, they're going to go to a series of radiators mounted outside the house and a reservoir that's going to sit in a bathtub. That's like a 5-gallon reservoir.
Yeah.
We're going to have an industrial grade pump, and then every system will actually have its own pump as well to help deal with the pressure drop as the water goes through all the components. So we're not going to have any undue strain on any one part of the entire setup.
So every computer will have 655s.
So funny story.
Is that...
Yeah, 655 pumps. So funny story is I reached out to Nvidia because we were going to need cards that were compatible with the blocks. And I asked them if it was okay for us to get 780s because we do use CUDA for a lot of our editing needs. We do have a couple of 780s around here, but the problem is that they're non-reference. And so the one that we have that's reference is the one that we use for our reference benchmarking. And then the non-reference ones we have are not compatible with water cooling. And if we were to take all the heat from the CPUs out of the room, that would help a little bit, but not enough to be worth a project like this. You want to get that GPU heat out of the room.
I think just buying an air conditioning unit would be...
I think you're crazy. Anyway,
More
the
worth
point
it,
is
but-
that
I
got an email back from them. They kind of went, I'm not sure about this project. I think that Titan Blacks would be more appropriate for something like workstation use in this manner. So apparently everyone's workstation's getting a Titan Black.
Do I get one too?
No,
Why?
because you're not in that room.
Whatever.
You can request a transfer. I'll have the CEO look at it personally.
My computer just straight up blue screened when I was working on it the other day. I was like, damn, my ghetto system.
So that's happening.
That's cool.
So we're moving all of our editors to 6-core LGA 2011. Not everyone has an Extreme Edition, I don't think. And then 2 Titan Blacks
That would
for
be so
all the CUDA.
Taryn will finally have a computer that can like actually use other people's files properly and
I
stuff.
know. We have one of our editors on an AMD
Only
card,
one.
and there's nothing inherently bad about that. It's just that the other guys are using plugins and tools that are CUDA tools.
yeah.
And so when he goes to work on their stuff on his computer, it's just like, bleh.
Or the other way around. If
Yeah.
the Nvidia card tries to open something that the AMD card was working on, it's bleh every time. It's they don't really like using the same file sets. So if anyone wants to ever work with something that he was working with or the other way around, it's
Yeah. It's not good for the workflow.
It's a
It's good to consolidate on one platform when you're trying to share work between people.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that I am forgetting.
Some people have been like, Luke, stop him. I've told them many
Oh yeah,
times.
we know this is crazy.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Yep.
We're 100% certain that this is a crazy idea, but it's going to be freaking awesome.
And it's gonna be fun. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
It's going to be fun. We're going to do worst case scenario. The whole room loop is a complete disaster. The pipes blow off and the water's all over the place, and we kind of go, "Oh crap."
And we
then
pull my dad in and hard pipe the whole thing.
and then we Hey,
I've already thought about this.
we should do that.
I know.
We should just do that anyway.
Probably. We could get a fatter line too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much would he charge for that? I could
I
ask
don't
him.
know. Yeah, I know.
I'll ask him.
He's not back yet. I was already
Okay.
going to talk to him.
Interesting.
Because I think that'll solve like quite a few of the
People are like,
problems.
Luke, stop him. But Luke's just trying to figure out how to take it to a whole new level
Because
of
you know,
insanity.
okay, I've accepted that it's happening. Now it's just how can we make it even more ridiculous and cool?
Yeah, because I was just gonna come up with some kind of like a wall mounting bracket thing or something to run the tubing around.
But we could just put like roof hooks. And
But
hard
that would be
lines.
better. Anyway, worst case scenario, we disconnect the whole room thing, we give up, and we go to each system being individually liquid cooled, which isn't that crazy.
No.
A D5 liquid cooled system with SwiftTech gear is not a problem.
No.
It's fine.
It
So,
will be fine. Not
Yeah.
a problem. We'll just move the rads inside the case.
we should totally overclock the workstations. You know we have to do it. Once we don't have to worry about the heat dump into the room, and we don't have to worry about throttling, because the problem is that 2 of their systems are thermal throttling
That
whenever
would
we
be an
render.
interesting case for binning.
Yeah.
Because we could try to limit every system and then see which ones come out like which.
I think we don't have enough of the same processor.
Not really.
Yeah, because we have like, I think we have like one 3960X, one 49 something.
Oh yeah, so they'll be kind of all
and then
over
we have
the
a
place.
K.
Yeah.
And I think those are the 6 cores we have. So I don't know.
Right.
All right. So yeah, we are. This is
Yeah,
gonna
'cause that
be
way
fun.
all the pipes could be copper even,
Yeah.
and that would just be so nice.
Yeah.
I don't know, it'd be pretty cool. And
That'd be badass.
He clear coats all of his pipes too.
Right.
So
So
it
it would
won't-
look awesome.
Yeah.
And like it wouldn't like we'd have to figure out how we want the fittings to work to come out to the systems, because I'd want to be able to move desks around if we really need to, you know? Like if we had like a fitting system.
You could T-line every once in a while and then have it go to a flexible pipe.
Okay, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. So
would be okay.
so yeah, we'll be overclocking the workstations, maybe just a little bit, not a ton. You don't want to overclock a workstation
Yeah.
to the max, but
Yeah.
anyway, so the confirmations here. The fact that we've got cases, power supplies, Noctua's in already. So the
Nice.
outside fans will be their water resistant fans.
Which totally
Which
makes sense.
totally makes sense. We actually came up with it. It's funny because I teased them about it in the video. I was like, why does anyone need a waterproof fan? That's stupid.
Oh, we do.
Oh, wait.
Because we're doing something stupid.
Because we're going to hang quadruple rads off the fascia boards of the building and then have fans behind them. We're going to have those running off SwiftTech PWM splitters so that we can
Yeah.
actually control them if we really need to. And then we're going to have all those. I figure we'll probably run those rads all in parallel, because otherwise you're going to get a lot of pressure drop from 5 quadruple rads in a row. So, yeah.
Our neighbor's just going to be like, what?
Our neighbor's like this super nice lady who's like super nice, but also pays a lot of attention to our house. She's a good neighbor, which means she'll notice that there's like stuff hanging off our house.
So epic.
So she'll probably ask us.
Yeah.
Yeah, super, super nice lady.
What
but
are those
she'll notice.
weird loud things?
Yeah, but what the
What
heck?
are those?
Should I ask for 2,000 RPM or 3,000 RPM? I mean, when we're talking about that much surface area, 2,000 RPM is probably fine, right? On the other hand, 3,000 RPM is like 1,000 more RPM.
Yeah,
so-
and we have those controllable splitters,
That's true.
so we could just pull it down.
We could just get a PWM fan controller and hook that up there. Oh,
IGN has a delayed video launch.
sorry.
It's actually not too bad because it autoplays, but it autoplays after a while, and it tells you that it's going to do that. So I don't hate this as much as Tweak Down.
Okay, so
Oh,
this
correct.
is like the biggest copycat ever because it wasn't that long ago that Linus Media Group and Tech Syndicate and Austin Evans and Newegg TV, they went to the top of a mountain to play a video game. So
I literally can't even.
sorry, what?
I literally can't even. That's a thing.
And literally can't even. So anyway, the point is Ubisoft announces a Far Cry 4 competition, Quest for
Oh
Everest.
my god, I keep signing me out. What are you doing?
Which basically is going to offer one lucky fan the opportunity to play Far Cry
We should get
4.
John in.
Sorry? What?
We should get. We should try and push to get John in.
To get John in?
That was the guy that.
Yeah, I know who John is.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'd be able to create a video entry that would be good enough to win it. I mean, the grand prize is for a
I've
14
only
night...
found one person who has a submission so far, and they're not going to make it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's a 14-night sponsor-specified accommodation thing. You get a guided trek to the Mount Everest base camp. To be clear, you will not be going to the summit.
I've seen a few different reporting sites and a lot of different people talking about, oh my god, going to the summit is impossible. Blah, blah, blah. And no, it's to the base camp. That's not like, it's still going to be crazy, ridiculously ridiculous, but it's not to the summit.
So this is basically the success rate. So how many summits and what the success rate was over the last however many years. This is from National Geographic?
Yeah.
National Geographic. So you can see that if Ubisoft was trying to get a gamer to the top, and nothing against gamers. I love gamers. Gamers are good people. But climbing Mount Everest is not something where being a good person is enough. It's not about that. It's about being in
You have
amazing...
such a good heart that you just like float to the top.
Yeah, it's about being in an amazing physical condition. Like, this isn't the Grinch, man. This isn't the little dog carries the sled to the top of the mountain. Like, no big deal. This is like serious stuff, and you got to train for it. You got to acclimate to the altitude. You have to just have a physical disposition that is capable of handling it. Like, you might just be unlucky and can't do it. And that's fine. You're not a bad person. You're just not able to summit Mount Everest. So it's
Which is
to base
like,
camp,
that's fine.
which I think some people who I've seen who have commented on, oh, it's just a base camp, that's like stupid. I think
No.
probably don't realize that base camp is still pretty intense.
Their base camp is incredibly high, and it's like not that easy to get to. And their base camp is more just like a grouping of tents, I believe.
Let me just find the elevation of the base
It's
camp.
still really, really high. Like,
Okay.
I think their base camp was considerably taller than the mountain that we climbed.
Yes. So base camp is about 17,500 feet. And then there's a north base camp in Tibet at just shy of 17,000 feet.
But I'm
So
pretty sure you'll be
this
near
is
that.
thousands of feet higher than we were when we did our Mount Elbert summit thing with the LAN party.
Like, it's nuts.
Yeah. So basically, the the articles about this are like, yeah, they asked us to pass along that there is an inherent risk of death and significant injury to persons and property associated with the Quest for Everest experience, and by participating, winner understands and assumes this risk.
And there's like tons of physical trials that you have to undergo before they'll even accept you. And if you don't pass the physical trials and they picked you, they'll just pick someone else. Like, they're dropping all of your rewards and all of your prizes and just picking someone else. Because they're not going to deal with, like, having someone that isn't ready to go up.
This is something I actually wasn't even aware of. This is
The
crazy.
overcrowding?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
overcrowding. Like, apparently climbing Everest is, like
It's
the
become
in-
kind of nuts. That's
the
the
in thing.
reason why I wanted to show
Look at
that
this.
original graphic of success rate. Because gear, ability of Sherpas, knowledge on the internet, all this kind of stuff has massively increased your possibility of making it up, especially stuff like gear and technology and pre-run lines and knowledge in general, like that the south path is a lot better to take than the north path and a few other things like that. but there's been massive overcrowding. People have brought up that, of course, there's better times to climb than others, so these photos are probably taken during really good times to climb, but it doesn't get rid of the fact that, as of right now, a lot of people are making it to the top, and these groups are all going as once, so you're going to be walking in this, like, conga line almost the whole way up. Walking and climbing. There's shots, I don't know if they're necessarily in here, even when there's, like, 10 to 20 people on the same rope.
Yeah.
Going up the side. And then there's a serious garbage issue where I think right now there's something in effect where you have to come down with a minimum amount of garbage or else you get fined or something.
Right.
And a lot of people are just paying the fine. And there's just tons of garbage. It's not good. Really not good. But yeah, I wanted to point that out because it's almost unfortunate timing that they're bringing more attention to Everest right now, because they're going through all these problems of overcrowding and garbage issues and stuff like that. There's even groups coming together where they climb part way up and just grab all the garbage that they possibly can and then come back down.
Right.
Because they're trying to clean up the mountain because it's so bad. It's like, wow. Okay.
People just ruin everything, don't they? All right, speaking of ruining everything, it's time to bring Barnacules onto the show. So do you want to get him sort of arranged over there while I cover our rumor topic? Dun dun dun! This was originally posted by Tech Check. And speaking of words whose spelling have nothing to do with how to pronounce them, check. Like, really, CZ? What's CZ? Apparently, I made a mistake in last night's or the night before's Tech Quickie video where I pronounced Brisbane, and for that, I am very sorry.
Isn't it not even spelled that way, though?
No, Brisbane or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's spelled that way, but that's not how you say it, and within moments of the video being up, there were comments about herder, lol, Linus doesn't know how to pronounce Brisbane. And my wife was like, what, really? Even I knew that. You know how good I am at geography. I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, I made a mistake. It's very funny. So yes, my bad, you guys. I'm very sorry to everyone who lives in, India or wherever Brisbane is. Just kidding. I know it's not in India. So I'm very sorry to all of you down under. And I apologize. And can I help you with something?
I didn't have headphones.
All right, I wanted to do a quick rumor topic before we bring on our large guest. Here we go. So this was originally posted by Tech Check, and it is rumored that the GTX... I'm getting a look from him right now. It was rumored that the GTX 870 and 880 are coming in October. It is rumored to be a GM204 chip, still a 28 nanometer chip. Are you looking for a splitter? Can I help you with finding a splitter?
Where's the splitter? It's supposed to live right here.
You are splitting my patience. I have no idea. There should be one in that bin. Oh, okay. That's good. Touch it with your feet some more. I don't have to plug my things into that.
You don't touch it when you plug it in.
Well, I could. Or I could taste it. No, I won't do that. Okay. Anyway, the point is...
I just did my phone soap thing. Don't lick that.
The size of the chip is estimated to be between GK104 and GK110, which makes sense. I mean, GK104 was never really intended... This is, again, all conspiracy theory. Nvidia has never confirmed this, but it was never seemed to be really intended to be a truly high-end chip. But GK110 was extremely large and very expensive, so it's rumored to perform better than an 780 Ti. The memory interface is rumored to be 256-bit, and it is rumored to consume less power than 780 Ti, and the memory capacity is rumored to be 8 gigabytes. So that's quite the set of rumors there about gigabytes and bits. Anyway, I don't have anything to say about that. I haven't heard anything from Nvidia at this time, so that's why I'm going ahead and commenting on rumors. Speaking of rumors, there's one rumor that I wasn't able to comment on not that long ago, but of course now Nvidia has unveiled. Can't say anything about it because the review embargo has not passed yet. Not even going to say when that is, but I will say I do have a Shield tablet, and I don't even think I can say, like, it's great or anything. I think all I can say is...
Were you allowed to show it on camera?
Well, they have pictures of it. I didn't show anything that no one's ever seen before. So, yeah, I can't imagine we'll get in too much trouble. I mean, what are they going to do? Tell us we can't have our Titan Blacks? They could do that. Ooh.
That never happened. Continue on with the show.
Internet, please do not give us away. Please do not give us away. And without further... whatever, this guy!
What's up, guys?
Hey, welcome to the show, Barnacules.
I'm back.
Did you hear the one about the guy who lost his job?
Oh, man. Guys,
Wow.
I about pissed myself when you said Barnacules edition with tears on the box. I lost it. Oh, my God.
How are you doing, man?
No, I'm hanging in there. You know,
bit of a
like life's going to change a whole lot, but, whoa, man, I'm moving around a lot. Okay. No, I'm doing all right, actually. I wasn't doing so good a couple days ago, but I'm doing all right.
Here, I'm just gonna... I want to position you correctly so you're kind of a reasonable size. So, well, okay, don't take that the wrong way.
I lose my job every, 3 days.
It's okay. I've been on the internet for a while. These fat joke things, I come to expect them. I get worried when they go away, actually.
No, that wasn't even where I was going with that one. It slipped out, you know?
You skinny people are all alike. Every one of you.
Hey!
All right, so tell me this. What's the plan?
Well, the plan is at this point, I've got time. I've got enough resources saved up to get me through, I can, for about 6 months a year, I'm thinking. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to be my own boss. I'm gonna try to push the YouTube thing. I'm gonna try to work on my gaming company, Opulent Studios. Founded that with a bunch of friends. Want to get that back off the ground and see where it takes me. If the internet rejects me and doesn't lovers me, well, then I'll probably have to go back to the corporate empire. So that's the plan.
You figure you've got a year worth of nest egg to develop, hey? That's not bad. That's very doable.
No,
do you have enough to get some help, or would you be trying to one-man army it, a la Marcus Brownlee, or a lot of those guys who have shown that you can have great success on YouTube even without an entire crew?
Well, in the beginning, and I'm going to go it alone on the YouTube side, but on the development side, I've actually got a crew. I've got a graphics artist, another developer, and a PM. That are all involved on the development side. So I'm kind of going to be working 2 different projects in 2 different corporations. The Barnacules Nerdgasm thing will be just under me, and the Opulent Studios will be under me and 3 other people. So, but as far as bringing somebody in on YouTube, that's not something that I'm against. I mean, it's something that at some point I'm going to have to do if it gets to the point where I need to create more than, say, 1 video a day, 5 days a week. I mean, at some point I've got to be able to go do something else other than make videos.
Yeah, you tell yourself that now.
I'm already feeling the pressure too. Let me tell you, not having a job to go to, it's hard to. I used to be able to come home and justify it and be like, I'm kind of tired tonight. I'm just gonna tweet out I'm not gonna make a video. It's fine. Now I'm like, wow, I sat at home for 8 hours and I didn't make a video. I better make a video.
And the funny thing is, you go and you hire people to supposedly, help you make more videos or reduce your workload, and you just end up pouring it right back into production values or other projects or whatever else the case may be. Like, every time I find a way to alleviate some of the pressure, like this week I had Nick, who's actually my sales guy, script an episode of Fast as Possible. He did a great job. The ambient occlusion video is coming out this weekend or Monday. And so I had him do that. And then I'm spending all of my time scripting a build guide. So it's like, I'll just find some other massive project. So the build guide was going to be the build guide. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I've got a little bit more time to work on this. I'm going to go get some Plasti Dip, and I'm going to figure out ways to really make this one pop. We're going to take this build guide to the next level.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that. I'm gonna have the same problem because I'm used to taking all of the revenue the channel's generated thus far and just dumping it back into camera equipment, lighting equipment, stuff for the cave, upgrades for the computers, and now I got to figure out how to somehow leverage that to support my family at the same time is still maintaining that. So it's gonna be tricky. That's why I'm glad I have time to make it happen. It's not gonna happen overnight. I'm probably gonna drift into the red before I drift into the black, but I won't know unless I try, and it'll bug the hell out of me if I don't.
You know what I'll say that I hope is really encouraging? There have been exceptions. There have been the people who watched Linus Tech Tips before we, sold out, which is always funny to me because I these days I have far less reason to care if someone buys the product that I review than back when I worked at a company whose existence relied on people buying the products I was making videos about.
Yeah.
So if you trusted me then, you should probably trust me now, because it's not really any different. It's certainly not any worse. But there were the people who watched back then and haven't liked it since we started having to actually support ourselves and make a living off of this content. But by and large, the vast majority of our viewers, of our audience, never skipped a beat and have continued to support us no matter what it is we're doing, whether it's t-shirts or whatever else it is. So I would hazard a guess that if you asked your community to step up and help support you now that you don't have a day job, they will probably do it.
I'll agree with that. My community has been more supportive than I ever thought they would be. And to be honest, when the morning that I was laid off came as a complete surprise to me. I was thinking about it and I was like, God, I need to go find another job. I absolutely have to go find another job. That whole day, that's all I could think of. And it wasn't until I saw the positive feedback that I got on Twitter, on Facebook, even on the comments on the video that I posted. I was surprised. I mean, it got like 100 dislikes to 12 or 14,000 likes, and I've never had that kind of ratio before. So the community really knows how to come together. And, as long as you're straight with them and you let them know what's going on, it seems like they're cool with it. You're always going to have the trolls. No matter what, you're always going to have the trolls that come out and say, oh my God, you're a sellout. You're doing this. Oh, you've changed. Oh, I don't like what you're doing now. But that's always been there before I made it a career, so I still expect that to be there. But by and large, I think the community is going to back me up. If they enjoy what I do, I'm going to keep doing it. And if they decide they don't enjoy it anymore and the community starts to go away, well, then that's my sign I probably shouldn't be in this business and I should go actually get a job,
Yep, 100% agree. And I mean, I've messaged you privately saying I think you're doing a great job in terms of developing your style, developing your delivery. I think I gave you some feedback that wasn't quite as positive, but
it changed my direction a little bit though. If you notice, my videos aren't 30 minutes long anymore.
And you know what's funny about it is no matter what, and you can listen to me or you can listen to someone else or whatever else, everyone's going to have a different idea for how you can run it. So if there's any advice that I can give you right now, it's tune out the advice unless you really truly believe in your heart of hearts that it's exactly what you need to be doing, because otherwise you'll go in 1,000 different directions and you'll be spread so thin. He has to be
his own channel too.
Well, the nice thing about me is I've got the ADHD thing going on for me, so it's like all this advice pours in and just little pieces stick here and there and here and there. And I'm only capable of doing what I'm capable of doing, so that it's ultimately going to solve itself.
Honestly, my first thought when I heard was his YouTube channel is actually pretty big. He can actually probably do this.
Yep.
I was actually pretty excited at the same time. So
when we went indie, we were 3 people. I had to support 3 people, and we had around 250,000 subscribers, and we were doing around 160 to 180,000 views a day. So you have to support one person on a subscriber number that's, I don't know, whatever, 2/3. Math's not my strong point. And view numbers that are in the sort of 3rd-ish and maybe a little bit less range. You can do it, for sure.
Yeah. And I'm trying to go in a unique direction with my channel. Like you guys know, it's been all over the map. I mean, you can find videos on how to put brakes on your car on my channel. I mean, they're there if you look for them. But realistically, I'm going to stick with the 3D printing stuff. I'm going to get heavily into development, though, and that's a territory I haven't done before because I want to keep my development skills sharp. I've been programming for 15 years, and now I don't have a job to go and program every day. So I'm going to be working on games with Opulent Studios, but I'm also planning on doing a series of videos where I actually show people how to program. I'm going to start with a simple high-level language like C# and show them how to write some cool little tools and utilities. And I think that that'll be kind of fun because I'm not going to go the conventional route of, oh, here's a tutorial, watch me type in some stuff. I'm actually going to make it kind of funny and really screw around a whole bunch and try to captivate people and keep their attention. And the other thing is, the reason a lot of people think that I overham it up in my videos. I get this, they're like, man, you're trying to be funny. The thing you got to realize, I am the slowest editor on earth. And the only way I can make it through 3 hours of editing is if I'm laughing at myself. So I intentionally ham it up so that when I'm editing the video, I'm sitting here at certain parts pissing myself going, I really shouldn't leave that in there, but I'm going to because it made me laugh. Or I'll cut it out entirely even though it made me laugh. But it keeps me entertained, and that's what gets me through it. When I did the boring, like unboxings, just open it like, hey guys, here's what this is. It's kind of cool and everything. I had a really hard time editing that stuff. It wasn't until I started just kind of playing around a little bit that I had fun with it. And then you kind of see that come out in the video. You're like, oh, he actually had fun making this.
If you make fun, entertaining programming videos, that would actually be pretty cool.
I know. Have you ever seen a fun programming video?
The best one I could find was the new Boston or something, and he's like, every once in a blue moon, there's like a slightly edgy comment that might make you chuckle. That's like the most entertaining programming videos I've pretty much ever found. So if you can find something that actually makes me laugh and teaches me how to program, that would be really cool.
Okay, so envision this. What if I did a video where it was like Bob Ross, with like the bush, and here's the little tree. I'm gonna be like, here's the little variable, and then I just keep going back to it. I'm like, here's the little variable again. We're gonna put a little symbol next to him. See, makes him look cool.
Is this syntax there? And you're like, that's a happy accident. We're learning. It's a happy accident.
Oh my god, yeah, no, but I'm gonna try things out. I'm gonna take risks. Like I said, I had time. If I didn't have time, and just to clarify, a lot of people think I'm taking a huge risk here for my family because my son needs a lot of therapy. Realize I am not gonna let my resources get exhausted. I will go back to an IT job long before I'm in trouble. I'm not gonna push this to the last minute and go, oh crap, I screwed up. Let's go live under a bridge. Ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
All right, so speaking of screwing up and living under a bridge, if you steal in-game items, one British MP, this was posted by Johners on the forum, one British MP thinks that you should go to jail or be fined or community service or whatever real-world consequences exist for real-world crimes. He wants to see that happen to people who steal things digitally. And we're not talking steal digitally like what we're always hearing about. Stealing movies, stealing music, stealing Windows, which you don't have to care about anymore.
No, actually, I gotta care about it more than ever.
We're talking stealing swords. Like in-game items and stuff like that.
And not like, oh, he ninja looted it, he picked it up off the ground before I could, or he like need rolled it when he didn't actually need it, or he stole from the guild bank.
You got to realize swords in games to some of these guys are like real items.
Yeah.
Yes.
They are. Like I know I have a friend who plays World of Warcraft, and seriously, the way I see him scream in pain when something bad happens in that game, it's like you might as well be like stealing his real stuff and like breaking his house and beating him with it,
And the thing about it is, and this is something like for me personally, in-game items are not something I've spent a ton of money on over the years.
This is a fairly interesting thing. I'm going to interject before you can keep going. You can buy a Karambit in real life for cheaper than you can buy a Karambit in Counter-Strike.
Wow, that's screwed up.
Okay. So
the future is in making sprites and selling them.
Originally, Johnner's post on the forum was kind of mocking this, as if, ha ha ha, it's not real stuff. And as someone who doesn't spend a lot of money on in-game or digital items, my initial knee-jerk reaction was, what, really? Go to jail for, like get charged with grand theft for stealing $5,000 worth of, boots and Diablo or whatever the case may be. And then I kind of stopped and thought about it for a second, because is a digital currency, and let's just call in-game items. Let's call Team Fortress 2 hats a digital currency. Are they not? Anything that can be converted to and from another currency and can be traded for goods and services between people is kind of a currency. So is stealing digital currency that someone worked for, and if that work was farming gold, or if that work was sitting at their desk trading stocks, is that any different? Is that currency any different from money? And I kind of started thinking about it going, well, shit, $5,000 of in-game boots is still $5,000, and that still got stolen. I think this is a huge step in the right direction. So, sorry, I'm all done with my thoughts. Yours.
No, I agree. I think, I think people take that stuff very, very seriously, and it's one thing to get your items stolen in game if you put yourself in harm's way, but to have hacking involved to take it, I mean, I really don't look at it any different than hacking a bank account and taking money out. I mean, you're definitely taking away something somebody worked for.
Yeah, and we're not talking like you board their ship and you gank it.
Right,
we're talking
you
like
board their 1011 port and send them an UUB packet and like knock it over and steal all their crap. Yeah, it's bad.
I meant yoink. I said gank. I don't know how that slipped out.
Yoink their shit?
Yeah.
Oh, see.
Whatever. Like I was going for the Simpsons
gank
thing, and I used
works.
completely. I know it kind of works, but
not fully.
What I meant to say was yoink, and I have no idea how that works.
We all kind of let it slide because you're not that much of a gamer, anyways. So we were like,
Wow. Okay. Wow. You know what's funny is I can't beat the last level of BioShock Infinite.
But you can't beat it on a shield.
No, I tried it on my computer last night.
I'm only a quarter of the way through. I really need to finish that now that I actually have time.
And you know what? I'm more of a gamer these days than you give me credit for. I actually game a fair bit on Nvidia Shield. I play BioShock Infinite. That's the most recent game that I've played in a long time.
I'm more of a gamer these days than you give me credit for. I played Bioshock Infinite. That's the most recent game I've played.
I started Limbo.
And he played it for like 5 minutes.
You
sitting on
started
it.
Limbo.
Oh, he did.
I'm almost done Super Meat Boy.
What are the release dates of all these games?
I don't
Not that that
care.
really matters, to be completely honest.
I hate you. Anyway, the
just
point
saying,
is, do you have
I'm
anything
just
to add
saying.
to the in-game items thing, or can I?
No, I think it's awesome. I've seen a whole bunch of stuff like this happen. I know people that have had their accounts hacked. I've had my account hacked.
I've had my account hacked and all my games stolen from Origin. It was a nightmare to
Yeah.
get it all back. It took me like a week.
At one point in time, my character in WoW was worth a lot of money, and my WoW account got hacked like many times, despite doing many precautions. It
Yeah.
didn't really seem to matter.
All right, so let's move on to the next thing. Valve had this controller idea that was like revolutionary and groundbreaking. We were gonna have touchpads. Oh, I thought we were all gonna do it now. Barnacules was doing it, and then are we going for this? Or what are we doing? I'm confused. What kind of show is this?
I don't know.
The point is, Valve had this innovative controller idea with touchpads, and I kind of looked at it and I went, okay, that's cool in theory. Let's see how this pans out. And I swear, every single revision to the Steam controller makes it closer and closer and closer to this, which is the Shield controller. And I'm not saying that Valve was copying something that didn't exist yet. I'm saying that the Shield controller is not really inherently any different from an Xbox 360 controller. And so the closer it gets, the less innovative it is. And I just have to wonder if there's any point in them even continuing to develop this
If
thing.
it's
they're
just
gonna-
eventually gonna get rid of the touchpads, even.
Yeah, so the latest iteration... Here, sorry, I'm making Barnacules go away for a bit here. Sorry. We've got a couple shoulder buttons. We have a touchpad. There's those back buttons.
Basically,
and then,
everything's the same. They changed one of the directional pads with a joystick.
yes, so we've got a joystick and ABXY now, which originally was not the case. I personally am starting to kind of like it, but I'm not a huge fan of both analog sticks being on the bottom. I'd prefer to have a D-pad here and an analog stick up here. Your thoughts?
With how I hold it, I like having my
Be careful where you go with this sentence.
I like having my analog stick on the top of the left side, because I kind of like push it into my left hand, which makes my left hand go up a little bit. It's just because I've used an Xbox 360 controller for so long.
Yeah.
So I like it being up there. So this is still going to bug me unless I just use that touchpad all the time.
Right.
But then why would I use this controller?
Jerry,
I don't know.
touchpads. Touchpads on game controllers.
Honestly, I thought it was really cool when they first did it, and then I was like, nah, this isn't gonna work because you don't have that precision. You just get used to using a thumbstick after so long, and when you pick up a controller, it's just having something you have to constantly keep picking your finger up and moving it back and dragging around and stuff would drive me absolutely crazy.
Well, they demoed playing Portal, but then if you watch that demo, they weren't doing anything particularly complicated.
I maintain that the only games it really makes a ton of sense for is stuff like Civ.
And if it was
where
going to
it's
be
turn-based, kind of slow,
Yeah.
where you can kind of sweep around, and there's probably more things on screen.
if you were going to play Civ anyway, wouldn't you just get like a TV dinner stand and like
That
a
would be
ducky mini
Much better.
Yeah.
and a mouse?
That would be much better.
I guess it really depends how the games are developed, but honestly, games are going to be developed either for a keyboard mouse experience or for a controller experience. I mean, until they start specifically making game profiles that like suit thumb touchpads, it's going to feel awkward.
And my thing is that the original design catered to they're adding something to the market, so that hopefully more games could be played in this situation. And now they're moving away from that to the point where before I was like, okay, maybe I could have this controller for those couple games where it makes a ton of sense. And now I'm like, no, I'll just probably stick to a 360 style controller and be fine.
Yeah, I think what it comes down to is just what people are used to. I mean, you've been using the 360 controller and that style of controller for so long that it's going to be really hard to change over. It's just like keyboards, right? We all use, the standard layout. We don't use Dvorak. Some people do, but it's like, who wants to memorize a whole new format just to be a little bit faster?
I switched to Dvorak actually, and I loved it, but it was a serious issue every single time I'd use someone else's computer.
I bet.
And that's what ended up making me drop it actually, because when I switched, I wasn't working. I was just going to school, and then when I started working again, I was in an IT shop, so people's computers would come in, and I had to work on tons of different people's computers all the time, and it just drove me nuts. I couldn't memorize both different layouts. So
Yeah.
I just dropped it.
That's the problem with deviating from standards is you're on your own, right?
Yeah.
I mean, once you do that, you're carrying your own keyboard everywhere.
Yeah. If I only ever used my own keyboards, it would be fine.
We had an intern once who brought his own keyboard to work every day.
That's a
Seriously.
hardcore intern
And
right
he
there.
had a plastic cover for it that kept it dust-proofed and everything. It was
It was
fantastic.
badass. He didn't care about the mouse.
Nope.
But he
Well,
bought
every
that
computer I
keyboard.
had at work was a mechanical keyboard. I bought mechanical keyboards for my 2 offices and my 2 workstations because I just couldn't stand those little membrane keyboards anymore.
I have my own mechanical keyboards on all my stations now.
Which is bizarre because we have so many mechanical keyboards here.
Don't let me use any of them.
Well, then you'll ruin them. You'll get them
It's a
all
good
out.
investment
point.
for the workplace. It's a really good investment for the workplace because you can tell if people are working with mechanical keyboards because you can just kind of listen. It's like,
That's a good point. I'm gonna
All
swap
right.
Everything out for gel caps.
Speaking of not being sure if anyone's working, the hard drive industry. So we first got 4 terabyte hard drives back in late 2011. And if you guys remember, leading up to that, we were getting new hard drive capacities like, what, every 6 months? We went from 320 to
nuts.
Yeah.
640 to 500, 750s and 1 terabytes. And then we got 1.5
still-
terabytes, 2 terabytes, 3 terabytes, 4 terabytes, and then nothing.
I still remember being at PAX having to explain to everybody
well,
what
don't
a
forget the
terabyte
6.
was.
Don't forget the 6. That was it. I think Samsung made a 6, or was it Seagate or Samsung? I can't remember.
Hitachi had a big one, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Can't remember. Someone did. But the point is, we're finally seeing a big move all of a sudden. WD just released a red 6 terabyte, and then they went ahead and validated it for up to 8 of them in a single enclosure. So we're talking 48 terabytes in a single 8-bay enclosure, which is freaking unreal. And Seagate is apparently sampling 8 and 10 terabyte hard drives. So the original article is from dsl.sk. This is not like to end users or anything, but let's just have a brief discussion. What would you do with 10 terabyte hard drives?
I just back up the internet. I just back the whole thing up and then cancel my internet subscription, save some money. That's what I do.
I guess you need to now, because
Oh, wow, you're a terrible person. I can see a lot of people buying 2 drives and RAID 1ing them instead of a huge set and RAID 1ing the huge
that's
set.
exactly what I'd
So
do.
you could streamline them. You don't need massive hard drive arrays
Yeah.
as hardcore. You won't need like this full tower just because you want a lot of hard drives.
Yep.
Well, my NAS setup is 3 external drive arrays that each hold 4 drives, so I could have a total of 12 of those 10 terabyte. That'd be awesome. That'd be absolutely awesome.
I you know what's funny is I used to just kind of crave more storage, and I was always trying to add more storage. Like I got Windows Home Server V1, a project which I was super sad got just completely
It was actually
destroyed.
pretty cool.
You and me both. You and me
That was-
both. I still run 2011, and I'm pissed off that they took out all the drive pool capability.
Yeah, so drive pool was super cool, and I would just add drives and add drives and add drives. And then I moved to 2011, and I finally went with a proper RAID because that's what you have to do now.
Yeah.
And I built like a big fat RAID, and then I expanded it, and that ended up being the server that now lives at our office, and we use for that. And when I had to move something back to my house because I now had no NAS. What I realized was my personal data was only taking up about 3.5 terabytes on it. I don't even know what people keep, and that's mine, my wife's. Like we only have SSDs in our computers, so that's all the mass storage for everyone in my house. I can't figure out what people are putting on their NASs.
I have a lot of data. I have a lot more than that. Just
Yeah, for me, it's the raw image stuff. Like when I do photography of my family and
Okay.
stuff, like a single raw image I have can be 65 megabytes for
Yep.
just like one raw image.
I back up a lot of the work I've done here on my own NAS. I back up like all my school stuff I've ever done, all images, I keep game installation files for old games where you'd like need the CD now. If it's not on Steam, essentially. I keep
Those
the
aren't
installation
that
files.
big. We're talking 650 meg files. We're talking 10 Barnacules photos.
I have a lot.
Right, okay.
And like
I'll be honest, I've
I've
never come close to filling up my storage. I mean, I still have 30% free, and I'm already ready to go buy the next generation of drives. It's funny you guys are talking about this because I was going to go buy a whole bunch of the 6 terabyte reds to replace my existing 1 and 2 terabyte drives that are in there.
So what I'm planning to use the new high capacity drives for is because right now we have way too many drives. We have a 21 terabyte array that's made up of 3 terabyte drives. It's in RAID 6, so there's 2 for redundancy there, and then we have a couple hot spares, just in case.
Redundancy is a big deal. Everybody,
sorry?
please use that. Oh, no, I was saying redundancy is a big deal. I learned a bad lesson when I first set up my first Windows Home server. I wasn't replicating the data across any of the drives, and I lost some stuff that I'll never get back, and that's freaking horrible. So now everything in my house, I just consider half the storage is what I get because everything's redundant one way or another.
Yeah. So I'll be using the new drives to build an offsite so that we can be doing a nightly sync to somewhere that's not here.
Awesome.
I was doing that for some essential stuff before with my home one, but it just doesn't have enough space on it. It's like kind of an older, not very many port RAID card, and I only have 1 terabyte drives for it. We don't actually have a ton of extra drives around here because
If you use them all.
yeah, we don't do a ton of hard drive reviews. No one's released anything in the last however many years. So what are we going to review? So we're not going to get review samples or anything, and then like.
And every time that there is a new hard drive, it's like, yay.
Put it in the server.
It's bigger a little bit.
Yeah, so there's not much to say. But I guess all I would do with them, if I had 2 10 terabyte drives, I would just go straight RAID 1. 2 drives, RAID 1, done. Because
that's what I mean, yeah.
I don't need amazing write speeds for network attached storage. Mm-hmm. And then RAID 1, you do get a slight read speed benefit from it. So, great.
Yeah. Like that single or double drive RAID 1s will be pretty sweet, actually.
Speaking of single or double drives, we have 2 sponsors for the show today. So sponsor number 1 is Intel's presence at hold on, I have my whole thing up here for it. At least I'm supposed to. I'm gonna fire that guy.
While you find that.
All right, Intel's gonna be at Nerd HQ. So I'm gonna go ahead and screen share with you guys. Nerd HQ, they're going to have a presence there, and they've got some cool stuff to go along with what they're doing. So first and foremost, they have an offer code right now. So from now until July 28th, you can get $25 off select Acer stuff with promo code NerdHQ25, or get $50 off select ASUS products with the code NerdHQ50. These are very creative codes. For $25 off, it's got a 25 in it, and for $50 off, it's got a 50 in it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to post the bit.ly to where you can check out those deals. But while deals are cool, and they are, deals are great, I love deals, even better than deals is free stuff. So all you gotta do is tweet at Intel USA with hashtag IntelNerdScene for a chance to win a Core i7 processor. They actually didn't specify what Core i7 processor it is. But based on the fact that they say it has an estimated retail value of $1,000, I think we can guess. Probably an Extreme Edition. Very cool. On top of that, every tweet gets them to donate $1 for Operation Smile. So you should definitely do that, even if you don't care about winning the processor. All you have to do is tweet why Comic-Con makes you smile with hashtag IntelNerdScene at the Intel USA handle. Costs nothing. Each tweet is $1, up to a total of $5,000. So you can check out the full terms and conditions. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to post that link into the Twitch chat right now. And then we also have another sponsor. And I'm going to rely on Luke to go ahead and change it to our second, lower, third here.
Okay.
Good job, Luke. You did well. You're hired.
Why is it this?
Why is it what? No.
Oh, there we go. I failed.
Wow, you're fired again.
Crap.
You're amazing. All right, lynda.com. You want to learn something cool? Aside from Linus Tech Tips, lynda.com is a great place to do it. So you can work on, say video editing, DSLR photography, or video shooting, or any of the other skills that Barnacules needs now that he doesn't have a job anymore. Barnacules, lynda.com. Go to lynda.com/wancho for a free 7-day trial.
You know what's sad is I'm going to do that.
Lynda.com has very reasonable plans. They allow you to learn at your own pace. They have industry experts teaching them. It's all really amazing video tutorials. And the great thing about Lynda.com, in fact, the greatest thing about Lynda.com is one of our very own employees here. In fact, a couple of them really like it. But one of our very own employees uses the skills he learned with Lynda.com to do his job as one of our video editors/designers every single day. So it is a website. It is a product that we believe in very, very strongly. And they have a new feature. So this is cool. They have what they're calling this is lynda.com made you a mixtape. So, basically, they made more than 100 mixtapes. What they do is they have these expert playlists. So they have courses that are carefully chosen by their learning experts. It's in-depth coverage of some of the most popular subjects, and they organize it into course lists so you know what to watch next. So as much as you can use Linda as kind of a smorgasbord, and that wasn't a crack at Barnacules, sorry.
Oh my god.
As much
stop.
as they use Linda,
wrong
as you
with
can
you?
use lynda.com as a smorgasbord, you can use one of these to really guide you through the learning process. So guys, check it out, lynda.com/WAN show for a free 7-day trial. Barnacules, do it now. Welcome back. How are you?
Education. Learn your book.
People are requesting that you teach C++ or C instead of C#, by the way.
No, God. Okay, one thing, you can't make C and C++ funny. You can't.
Are we about to
C
get a
sharp-
rant? I would love to hear it. Let's hear a programming rant about why one programming language is much funnier than the others. Please.
Okay.
Go.
C and C++ require you to do all your own memory management and pointer precision logic and all that. And it takes forever to get anywhere.
I will personally watch if you do C and C++.
All right, screw it. I'm doing a C and C++.
Yeah!
I'm going to be like, all right, guys, we're going to do Hello World, and it'll be a 4-hour long.
Damn it!
I like C# because it's like in 100 lines of code, you can you can make something cool. And C and C++, 100 lines of code, yeah, you can do Hello World and like properly return something. It's not that bad, but still, I prefer higher level languages with rapid development and stuff, creating applications, stuff like that. If I'm not creating drivers, I'm not going to be using native code. So yeah, that's how it's going to be.
Fine.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'm not doing Java. Okay, I'm not
Thank
doing
you.
Java.
I'm okay
no,
with
actually,
that.
I take that back. If I go work for Google, I will do Java. Just not right now. Oh, now we got everybody over here doing C++. Nice. See out Hello World. All right, fine. God, these people.
Oh, Twitch chat.
Okay.
How I love them.
I'm in the Steam music beta thing with this.
Wow, good for you. You get a prize. Woo!
I don't have to
this
give
guy
high
is such a
fives to
braggart.
lower people.
Everything is about you. And you're always so down on our guests, being all insulting to them.
No, I have not once insulted Barnacules.
No, Linus just keeps making me hungry. He said smorgasbord, and I was like, yeah.
I guess you go for that too. So.
Hey, I wanted to ask you guys about something. Earlier, you were talking about the water cooling stuff that you're gonna do, the whole room water cooling.
Yeah.
I was thinking you guys should put a kiddie pool outside as the reservoir with a curtain on it and a shower. And literally just before the rads, put the shower, so you can just go out there and have a nice, heated shower all the time. And then it would pick it up, run it through the rads, pull the heat, and then loop it back through. That would be awesome. That would make the funniest
Imagine
video
having
ever.
to clean and decontaminate that loop.
Yeah, can you imagine having like ball sack gunk in your water block?
No,
can
it's
you
okay. You just put a filter in there on your loop. You said you have an industrial pump, so just put yourself like one of those microbial filters on it, and you'll be fine.
You know how there's that like junk face commercial thing? Junk loop.
Just don't use clear tubing. You don't want to see little floaties flying through there.
Oh
That would just
my
be
God.
bad.
It's like, yeah, my GPU's overheating. There's a pube in it.
You said it. I showed restraint there. Oh my God, that'd be so funny. You'd like take your water block apart, and there's like a cat ball hair.
Oh my God.
Oh.
No, actually, loop contamination was one of the big things I was worried about with that project because I found other projects where people had gotten the notion, and it's a mistaken notion, but had gotten the notion that having a very large reservoir will make your loop run cooler. What it does is it makes your loop take longer to reach equilibrium, but your temps will not be appreciably lower unless your reservoir is also a heat dissipation device. So
Especially
if you had,
when we're running so many systems.
yeah,
and
so if you had aluminum fins on it or something like that, where it was actually cooling the water in it, then that does something. Otherwise, you're just creating a much longer delay while the water heats up. So I found a couple projects where people were using things like 5-gallon pails for their liquid cooling reservoirs. And one of those guys, I mean, again, we're talking people who think that the reservoir will cool the loop, so they're not doing their research. Like, I'm not saying that's a stupid assumption. I thought that at one point until I did my research and found out it doesn't work that way. But we're talking people who didn't do a lot of research. But anyway, one of these guys said he had enough gunk growing in his loop within 2 weeks that his pump was not able to move any water through his CPU block.
Just to clarify, for anyone who wants to do a mineral oil build, you still need a fair amount of volume in your tank.
Yeah.
So don't just be like, oh, I don't need that much. It's okay. Yeah.
Speaking of mineral oil cooled
sure
machines,
does.
our mineral oil kit from Puget Systems has shipped, and our
I think it's here.
12-gallon... Oh, it arrived?
I think so.
Oh, well, our 12-gallon thing of mineral oil has also shipped.
Oh, I don't think that arrived.
No, that's not here. I shipped it to the U.S. and then transferring
Okay.
it up. So we are going to be doing, for better or for worse, an MATX mineral oil cooled machine. Wish
Nice.
us so much luck.
Are you guys just going to
way
fully
more easy
submerge
than
the
you
whole
think.
thing?
I'm sorry?
Are you going to fully submerge everything
You betcha.
except for the hard drive? Or the hard drive you can't though, right?
There's
No.
no hard drive positioning in this
Okay.
tank configuration anyways.
Because the store I used to work at like 15 years ago, they literally had a fish aquarium they just filled with mineral oil, and
Yeah.
everything's just dumped in there. Like they didn't even do it nicely. They just dumped the motherboard, dumped the power supply, all the fans spin it like 1 RPM, and it just works. It's crazy.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, especially with their kits, it's like honestly a lot easier than you'd think because you just
Yeah.
build it on the plate that they have and
Yeah.
then slide it in and then pour oil in and you're done.
Okay.
How do you
It's like
even clean
not
that though?
hard.
Like if you ever wanted to take that out and upgrade it, I mean, you just call the loss as soon as you dip it in there. Like
You're on.
Basically, it's gonna take you forever to dry out the component. If it's something like a graphics card that has a sticker on it, which is
Yeah.
less common these days, but was very common back when I did it, that sticker will come off. Anything that's rubber will probably deteriorate, die, and particle away. But most things will work. Some things that you're gonna have to pay attention to is stuff like thermal paste could be kind of grabbed away from it. So if you take it out of the oil, you have to make sure that you re-thermal paste pretty much everything.
Wow.
And you're probably going to have to drip dry your stuff for a long time unless you feel like sacrificing bottles and bottles of some type of non-conductive solution that you can clean all the oil off with, like isopropyl alcohol or something like that. But you have to be careful with those too because some of the ones that I've seen people suggest are really aggressive and can like eat away at metals and stuff, which is not good for your components. So be careful about what you're going to wash it with. The way I did it was I just drip dried everything. And everything worked except for my graphics card because I forgot to redo the thermal paste and tested it and then it died. But everything else worked.
So basically, I have a sacrificial graphics card that we're gonna use. I have an old 5870 iFinity 6 edition that has a Spitfire cooler on it, so it's got a nice big cooler. So we could probably actually do it with no fan on anything, like just
Fans
oil
are
flow. So
good because it pushes the oil.
I know, but it's a
Interesting.
very, very large cooler, and it extends away from the graphics card
Yeah,
itself.
that's.
So
I think I remember that cooler.
yeah, it might be okay. I mean, we'll try it and see how it goes, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, it should be pretty cool, hey?
Yeah.
And we
yeah.
have an entire box of like tower heat sinks.
Yeah.
So we'll
and
use-
those are going to be the best for that situation anyways.
Yeah.
Unless I've seen some people started screwing around with putting like AIO liquid coolers and just hanging the radiator outside of the thing. So you have an individual cooler for the CPU and then you cool everything else with oil. Don't ask. I didn't.
The coolest one that I've seen was somebody took a foam box and they filled it with mineral oil, and then they took the condenser out of one of those little Windows AC units and just set it on the top and had a pump just circulating the liquid over the top of the condenser. And it was just keeping it like almost freezing.
That's fantastic.
And it would be easy to find a window air conditioner that you could just cannibalize for something like that.
I'll be back in a moment. Do you want to do the Steam music topic?
Sure.
Make sure you screen share with them and stuff.
Yeah.
You know how to do it, right? Here, let's just switch laptops for a second.
Windows P.
We'll switch our identical looking laptops.
Hooray. Oh. There you go. All right, so the Steam Music interface beta isn't like that much of a looker, and there isn't a ton of support for different formats. So they haven't actually added any support from when it was just in Steam Big Picture. So as of right now, it supports stuff like MP3. And that's it. And they have a quote on their website that says, unless you're a big fan of the play button, you may not find your favorite music feature exists here yet. So there isn't a ton of features, but what is actually really cool, I'm excited for you to show this, is the fact that you can play it and mess around with it in the Steam overlay. So for me, I don't know if this is the default buttons, but for me it's just Shift-Tab, and it brings up the Steam overlay, and I can change what music I have and what music I'm playing and all that kind of stuff, which is kind of great. It looks very simple, so I'm going to bring it up here in 1 second. Windows P.
Oh, geez.
Extend or duplicate? Duplicate.
Wow, you field stripped that quick.
So this is essentially what it looks like. So if you're in your library window, in your drop-down, instead of selecting games, you just select music. and then it just has a list of all your music. And then this player right here, this one individual pop-up, is essentially the player that you get. Extremely simple. There's no way as of right now, as far as I can tell, to add all of your music to a queue. It only works with MP3s. There's almost no features.
It has shuffle.
It has shuffle.
So basically,
of the
it has
album that
all
you're
the
playing.
features of an iPod Shuffle.
MP3 or go home, man.
Doesn't iPod Shuffle have Shuffle All?
I don't know. I never had one because they
Me
were
neither.
dumb.
I didn't have one.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's not a ton of features, but the whole idea of it right now is that they're trying to get feature suggestions from the community. So send them suggestions and they'll try and figure it out.
All right. So, you mean like this one?
Yes.
Oh, it's heavy. All right. So there's my compressor over there.
Why do you
Got
just
my-
have this laying around?
I'm sorry.
Why do you just have this laying around? Like,
Well, I used this for my old chilled liquid system. With I had an E6600 that I think I had at 4 gigahertz, 24/7 stable. I think that was the
Wow.
frequency I had it running at, and I actually had this mounted to a like a cooler, like an ice box cooler. I had this mounted to that on like a thing underneath my case so that it could be mounted all the time. I had the whole thing insulated, so my CPU load temps were in the sub-teen degrees, full load.
that's awesome. It looks like you even custom mounted some 120 millimeter fans on there too to replace the big huge one.
With
If
Zep
by
straps.
custom mounting you mean zip ties and all the
Looks like a push
Silverstone
pull, too.
120
Nice.
mils that I salvaged from customer builds, then yes. So basically, I used to build all of the super high-end liquid-cooled systems at NCIX, and those systems were all in Silverstone TJ07. So that case came with a couple of 120 millimeter fans in the basement, but most of the time, I would end up ripping those out and replacing them with some other high-end fan because these were customers buying $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $7,000 machines.
Right.
And most of them didn't care. So I was like, when people would pick up the systems, a lot of them were local orders. I'd be like, yo, can I hold on to these fans? So over the years, I have lost more of this model of fan than probably most people have ever owned of any fan.
Wow.
It's pretty insane.
So yeah.
You have to repurpose that for the mineral oil build. You have to.
I bet I could repurpose it for the whole room. No, we probably shouldn't do that. If the idea is to try to not kick heat, I mean, we could mount it to
You
the
could
roof.
mount it to the roof.
The only problem is with it, if you mounted it outside, you wouldn't have that cool air return. So I don't know how efficient the condenser would be, because I mean the whole window unit, right, is you have all the heat exhausting outside, and then it's circulating the cool air inside over the condenser. I just don't know how much heat you'd be able to get rid of if you just keep recycling that heated air. You'd have to duck the hell out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But inside it would work great for that mineral oil build. That would just be cool. Do it.
I don't know if it's worth
Right.
it going with like the smallest mineral oil case because we wanted to MATX
Yeah,
and
no,
then this
no, it's
giant
fine.
thing.
And this has like leaves on it and stuff, so
If we went with
pretty
the
dirty.
Just hit it with some Krylon.
EATX
It'll be fine,
version.
dude.
All right, I'm gonna
Makes sense.
go put this thing away because it's extremely heavy. What else we got?
I can jump to the Microsoft topic.
Yeah, sure.
Just to make it super awkward.
Ooh.
Yay!
just gonna
So
sit here and
your
look
favorite
surprised.
person in the world has decided that he's going to be merging all separate versions of Windows into one.
Yes.
So essentially, they're bringing the like Windows desktop, Windows Phone, and Xbox teams all together into one little group, and that one team will be streamlining the next version of Windows from all these 3 operating systems into one operating system.
Yeah, it's what it sounds like. And to be honest, if they do it right, I think that's the right direction to go, because I think it's just too hard to maintain 3 completely different operating systems. I mean, so it makes sense. But as far as, the layoffs don't make sense, because like you still need all that intellectual property. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't really understand.
Well, the issue I have with this idea is that we're assuming that Microsoft, the company that brought us the Metro UI, when they were only trying to converge 2 screens,
It's going to be able to converge all of these together.
is going to be able to do what Apple decided was impossible when they developed a completely new operating system called iOS. Good luck.
This is why I say if they do it right. I agree. If
Because
Big.
no offense to
I personally see
Microsoft,
that if as an impossibility.
but Apple knows UI a lot better than they do, or has demonstrated over the years that they've been more progressively minded in terms of UI than Microsoft.
One thing that I'm hoping is going to happen is that it's not a UI convergence necessarily.
Okay, so it's a different skin over top of the same backbone.
No, because they're if you go to the basically exact same announcement that they made in April, which is where they're doing universal apps. If they just stick with the universal apps thing, have everyone working together so that the UIs feel the same, like so that the idea is the same, so that different menus will give you the same options and stuff like that, but they aren't exactly the same, I think that would be good.
Okay, so here's the problem. I'm going to show you what
That's Microsoft?
I'm going to show you what the problem is. Okay? So here, hold on. We got a screen share with me. The problem is that if you have something that's sharing features or sharing resources between a couple of different iterations of the same thing, then you end up with this.
Oh no.
So hold on. Oh,
what are you going to wreck now?
Hold on. How do I even open the Metro UI on this? There we go. All right. So
Hit the
I'm gonna
magical
go ahead.
Windows key. It's
No,
magical.
it's disabled. It's disabled on this one. So if I can even get... There we go. The stupid thing will even open. So I want
Windows
to... Say, for example... No. Right. I remember what I was trying to do. Okay.
We'll get there eventually, everyone.
We'll get there eventually. So users. Okay. So I want to edit users' accounts or something. Wait, what? What? Why can't I do it? Wait, what? Why can't I change my password? Why can't I do anything? Oh,
What are you talking about?
what?
That's the most intuitive UI ever. Just look at
wait.
that majestic thing right there.
What? I'm in here now? What? Hold on a second. Why
God,
am I
learn to
here? What's going
Windows,
on?
dude. Learn to Windows.
I know, right? And then hold on. No, it gets better. So I go into here and I'm like, oh yeah, well, hey, I wanna resolution. I wanna change my resolution or something. So okay. Oh, actually, I
Hey,
think
it's
this one might do it.
intentionally obfuscated so only power users can figure it out.
Dang it.
Okay.
You know what? The stupid thing here is I had an example that I remembered where within Metro UI, it dumps you back to the desktop. Can't remember what it was anymore.
There's
But
actually a couple different places, yeah.
There's a couple different places it does it. I couldn't remember if resolution was one of them. But the point is that I think when you give people this... oh, well, this one's optimal for tablets, or this one's optimal for desktop, or for 10-foot, or whatever else, I think you leave a lot of room for corners to get cut. Well, we don't want to redo the UI for changing your user password, so we're just going to dump you in this other interface that you... Obviously, if you wanted to use it, you would have been using it already.
Yeah, and then there's places where there's duplication, right? I mean, there's a lot of places where the same exact features are exposed through the desktop or through the modern shell, and that gets a little confusing too.
I'm okay with that, personally.
Yeah, I'd rather have a duplicated feature than missing functionality in one.
Yeah.
Because that infuriates me when I'm
Going
looking for something.
Going to user accounts in the desktop version and being
Yeah.
able to change your password, and then going to user accounts in Metro, whatever the heck, and being able to change your password, I think that's fine.
No, I agree. And what I do when I install Windows 8, the very first thing I do is I go change all the file associations so they all go to desktop applications.
Oh my goodness, that is
That
so
is the
annoying.
worst.
Whenever I fire up a new... I don't know what it is, but whenever I fire up a new Windows 8 machine, I'm always in a hurry. So in the case of this, because if I wasn't in a hurry, I'd install Windows 7 on it.
Shut up, dude. Come on.
So in the case of this machine, I was in a hurry because we were supposed to do our first sponsorship spot where we were using these computers on the WAN show, and I needed to get my machine set up. I needed to get all my logins done so I could screen share and my Twitter and my blah, 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 all that stuff. And what happened was... I was hurrying through it, and I went and I opened some photo. I think it was like the lower third for the show. And I spazzed, lost it. Because it opens in this stupid application that has no functionality, takes forever to launch, in spite of the fact that I'm running on an SSD. It's like, maybe you're a smart guy, you're a programmer. Maybe you can explain this to me. Why the hell could any application that's, let's say the photo viewer, let's say it's super bloated, because it doesn't do anything. So let's say it's super bloated and it's like a 30 meg program, okay? Sure. Why could a 30 meg program ever take multiple seconds to open on something that can read at 550 megabytes per second with a processor that's not even being taxed?
The short answer to that is dependencies on other services. It's not
Why? What is it even doing with the other services? It doesn't do anything.
No, it does. It does. This is the thing people don't realize is most of the modern applications that you're using are based on HTML5 that's rendered through MS-HTML, which is the IE's rendering engine, which also has dependencies from the rest of the system. So a lot of that slowness that you're experiencing, everything is all those subsystems coming online and into alignment so that it can render your experience.
That's stupid.
That's terrible.
But the whole point is it makes it easier for developers to make an app because they literally can make an app that compiles at runtime rather than having to actually like know how to code.
Really dumb.
I should probably rephrase that because that is a form of coding. I don't want all the HTML5 jocks to come after me. but that's the simple answer is whenever you have something that sits on top of a bunch of subsystems, all those subsystems take up memory. Like people used to laugh. Do you guys remember, like this goes way back, but you remember that competition that was held in, actually I think it was held in Canada, Assembly? Do you remember that when they used to have the competition where who could make the coolest program in 5 kilobytes?
Yeah.
And so back then they did everything in assembly. Every single instruction to the processor was raw. They would try to make these things insanely small. Well, now we do the opposite of that now. What we do is we build a layer on top of a layer on top of a layer on top of another layer that's like a cousin of another layer and then another layer on top of that. So that you only have to write 5 lines of code, but at the end of the day, you're running 200 million lines of code, half of which you don't need. And that's the unfortunate part with higher level languages.
The thing I wish had happened then, and this is going to seem like an odd thing to wish for, is if we're going to do that anyway, then I wish Microsoft had the stones to just stick with what they did with Vista and say, look, you want to have a great experience with this operating system? Get more RAM. Get a better CPU.
They couldn't, though. They couldn't because
I know they couldn't, but I wish they had.
Oh, you and me both. But they had to. That's the thing is, whenever you create a product that's designed for a whole array of devices, you have to develop for the lowest common denominator, which unfortunately is like a Casio watch with Windows 8. I mean, it's kind of like it runs on this for crying out loud. What is it? This is a Surface RT. This thing's got like less RAM than like a flip phone, and it runs on here. So that's the problem. They tried to make it super small.
And that's the thing is, I mean, if Windows 8 was designed to just, when it boots up, let's say I was willing to sacrifice a little bit of boot up time, because frankly, who cares? Who shuts down their computer?
SSDs, too, you can boot so freaking
Sleep,
fast.
man. So
no, and they have look ahead caching and stuff like that. Like the system is supposed to learn your tendencies, which apps you open and use most often, and then it's supposed to load those ahead of time, like pre-cache them into memory.
I think an operating system should probably assume that at some point the user is probably a consumer-grade operating system. That user is probably going to open a photo.
Yes, I agree.
So why not just have it ready for me? I guess that's the question. And obviously it's not your problem anymore. But
nope.
that's my frustration as the end user who kind of looks at this thing and goes, this is an app that has no functionality. It's bloated beyond all reason. And it just makes my life worse. It does nothing to make my life better.
The thing that makes me really upset is a lot of people like you're telling me about your bad Windows 8 experience, and your bad Windows 8 experience so far has involved the modern UI, right?
Yep.
And everybody talks about the modern shell, the modern experience, and the start screen, if you will. And it's like those two things define the operating system from the customer's perspective. But it's like if you look at everything else, if you look at the memory manager, the kernel, the HAL, all the stuff that was redesigned for Windows 8, it is so much faster and so much more streamlined than Windows 7 ever was. By like
Which
a huge
is why
magnitude.
Windows 9 will be good. It
Here's
happens
hoping.
every time.
Yeah, but that's the thing that really sucks is it's like all you do is you install Windows 8, change your file type associations, throw a classic start menu on it, and the thing will run circles around Windows 7. It just does.
I guess.
You might have
But
some
every once in a
driver
while,
issues.
you'll run into something, and it's incredibly frustrating.
And the problem is that it just doesn't matter to me because I've always been one of those guys who, like, I loved Windows Vista. I thought Windows Vista was such a huge improvement. Going back to Windows XP felt like going back to the Stone Age. Once I'd been using Vista for 6 months, 9 months, when everyone else was still shunning it, because I was running 4 or 8 gigs of memory at the time, and I was running a very fast dual core. I think I either had an E6600 or a Q6600 or something like that, which was at the time the Q66 was like a $700 processor.
Oh yeah,
So obviously no one was running that stuff, but for me I was like, yeah, this is great. So I've always been one of those people who's just thrown more hardware at the problem. So I mean, even with something like Windows 7, let's say you have some inefficiency or something. I mean, I've got an 8 SSD RAID 0 array. What do I care? Something's like 20% slower. I'll never see it. So you go and put inconveniences in front of me, like not being able to alter a user account unless I go into the modern UI. Well, screw you then. I'm not going to use it. And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck. And are there great things about Windows 8? Yes, absolutely. It's just, I'm not going to tear my hair out every time I need to do some basic thing and relearn it over that. I don't know.
No, I completely understand, and there are situations where even I would run Windows 7 in place of Windows 8. I mean, they're pretty rare situations, but you know, to each their own, I guess. Like you said with Vista, right? Vista was if you only had, you know, a gigabyte of memory, you were screwed, right?
Oh, it was terrible.
You were absolutely
Remember
screwed.
that horrendous ReadyBoost solution they came up with?
Yep. No, I remember ReadyBoost.
Awful.
Yeah, let's plug in a USB thumb drive and make it look ahead cache. It'll be awesome.
Stupid.
But for the record, it actually did work decent as long as you spent $1 billion on your USB stick.
I know it worked, but yeah, that's exactly it. The USB drives were more expensive than just buying RAM.
And they had to be really fast ones too. That was the thing, is I remember if you plugged in one that wasn't certified and you're like, screw it, do it anyways, it would actually slow you down. Good times.
I know people that did it for laptops though.
It was mostly for laptops. It really was.
Yeah.
And honestly, a cool feature in Windows 8 is Windows to Go. You can actually install it to a USB 3 thumb drive and boot the entire operating system and run it right off the USB drive. And I think that's actually a cool feature to have.
Yeah, it's a really cool feature. It's too bad that all of the instructions for how to do it are so obtuse.
I know,
as if they don't want anyone to do it. That
well, they don't. They don't want you to go into a
it.
library. They don't want you going into a library and like booting their computer off your thumb drive and like hacking the Pentagon. So yeah.
The kinds of people who are going to be hacking the Pentagon are going to be able to make their way through the instructions. You might as well just make it easier.
We wanted to do a video on
I know.
it, and then we were
But
like,
hey,
wow,
it gives me
this is
something to make
super
YouTube
dumb.
videos for the next year, apparently. Because like I got all kinds of things that I can tell people about they don't know. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, that was really infuriating because I found out about that feature. I thought it was amazing, and I was like,
We were going to do a video, 100%.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or booting VHDs. That's another thing they don't really advertise. But you can in Windows 8, you can actually boot a VHD, virtual disk. And the benefits of that is now you can put that virtual disk on anything, not even just a USB thumb drive. You can literally just transport it anywhere. Oh. Well, we'll see. We'll see how
anger.
Microsoft does without me.
Waiting for Windows 9.
Don't you mean Windows Barnacules edition with tears on the box?
I would definitely get that.
I would buy that.
Somebody please Photoshop that. If you're watching this, I want to see a Windows Barnacules edition box.
If you ever did like a Patreon or like a Kickstarter to like Jay's Kickstarter to fund him to CES or whatever else,
Yeah.
if you have a reward tier that is a copy of Windows,
Reward tier.
a reward tier,
You get a
yes.
tier.
Yes. Ouch. If you have a reward tier that is a copy of Windows with a picture of you crying on the box, I'll buy it. I promise.
Deal. It'll happen. If I ever do anything, there will be that level.
Okay. It better not be so expensive that I can't afford it.
No, it's I know you've only got Lambo money. You don't have that Bugatti money yet.
Exactly.
So I'll keep it down there.
All right, so speaking of employees and not performing very well, these
You're
ones
such a
didn't get
dick.
these ones didn't get sacked. No. These are the ones not performing very well. These guys didn't get sacked, but what they did do was voluntarily give back a part of a bonus. So Samsung employees reportedly gave back 2.9 million in bonuses to apologize for poor performance. This was posted by Dietrich W on the forum, and this is apparently fairly common practice in South Korean companies, especially publicly traded ones. So to be clear, this was across a mere 200 managers in the mobile division. So I ran the numbers. I kind of went, okay, so they gave back about a quarter of the bonuses each, if we average out the whole thing, and there are fewer than 200 of them. So of their total $60,000 bonus, they gave back about $15,000. So they still took a $45,000 bonus on top of whatever salaries they're making.
So they're still like...
That's pretty damn significant.
To apologize for poor performance and a significant drop in market share that has resulted in...
Only slightly billions of less.
I like how they still think they deserve the 45,000 though. They're like, "Oh, we're sorry for our poor performance here. You can have 15,000 back. We still need the rest."
Yeah, so that was a little bit confusing to me. It's like this is we're not talking Nintendo, where it's
Yeah.
like, we are slashing all of the executives' pay voluntarily because we need
By
to do better.
massive amounts.
By like massive amounts. We're talking a one-time bonus. We're not talking a decrease in salary.
Yeah.
And we're
Yeah.
talking like a show of goodwill, good faith. Like,
I'm a super baller.
here's part of it back.
Here's a few company meals.
Well, I'm not going to Korea, guys, because I'm not giving back my bonuses. I'm sorry. If I performed poorly and you gave me a bonus, then you suck, company. You need to
that's
you need to reevaluate what you're doing.
Yeah, that's something I really don't get. Like, I don't get bonuses at all around here, apparently, because my boss is a jerk. But if I did get bonuses...
He names his company all these stupid names.
I know, he calls his company after himself. That's like, who does he
what a
think he
guy.
is? Like, you know,
I know, what a
Insults
megalomania.
Michael Dell.
Shogos.
just saying, some other companies have done it, and it worked
Yeah,
out
Linus,
okay
if you
for
ever get a
them.
bonus, give it back. Give it back.
They use their last name for one. The Michael Dell guy.
How about Michael's? A different Michael, but they sell arts and crafts
Do you
supplies.
like that company?
Do I like that company?
Yeah.
Hey, Linus, just for fun, you should actually go and like talk to your whole media group team or whatever, and be like, guys, I'm gonna give you $100 bonus, but I think you should give 50% of it back.
We have
See,
not
just see
done
what
well
happens.
enough.
I want to see if the whole American or Canadian mentality is the same as the Korean mentality. I want to see if everybody just
We should go
offers up that
spend
50%.
all that 50%.
We should do that
on,
as a-
like new company signing.
We should do that
Do
as
it.
a channel super fun.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah, where I award each person a bonus, and then tell them that I
Knowing
really...
you, it's gonna be like a percentage of
Yeah,
the
record it
remaining
like
gumballs.
vlog style. Just walk up and be like, "I would like to record you with this $100. Give it to him in like 250s or something, or a couple 20s, and be like, now how much of that do you want to give back to the company for your poor performance?" And see what happens. That would be so funny.
That's terrible.
I just hope he doesn't get hurt.
Speaking of terrible and getting hurt, Samsung is taking on Beats with their Level headphones. I mean,
that'll
it's
be bad.
it's a pretty blatant case of going straight after someone else's product
Are
because
they trying to level them?
well, no, it's because Beats is like a music term and Level is like a music term and. Anyway, the point is now Samsung also has headphones that are expensive, fashionable, and according to The Verge, and they didn't even put a name on this article. It just says by Verge staff. So according to The Verge, for the most part,
Well, because I think a whole bunch of different people tried it on and stuff.
they sound all right, except the in-ears, which are apparently just bad.
Yeah.
So let's take bets on which company is going to come out with volume. That'll be the next headphone. You have the Level, the Beats, and then volume.
I mean, if someone was honest about it, we'd get a bass line. The bass line of headphones. That's taking it to a whole new level. Wait, no, we already used that one. Damn it!
In bass, out bass, on
My
bass.
wife has a pair of Beats headphones, and honestly,
Why?
I
Why? Hold on.
Because I got it. I literally, they were a $300 pair of headphones, and I bought them off my friend that was pissed off at them for like $20.
Okay, you
And they're
got them for $20.
active noise canceling, and that's all I like them for. You put them on, you flip the little button, the entire world disappears. I don't even plug the jack into anything.
Okay, well you're using them right, so I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I use them
The
for
best-
mowing the lawn.
The best would be if he had like in-ears that he wore, and then he put those over top. It's just, like you see gamers do every once in a while. So he's like, yeah, I listen to music on these. They're like nice IE80s or something, and then I use the Beats, which cost like $20 for noise canceling.
That'd be funny. You put the in-ear monitors on, you just put the headphones over the top of them, and everything. You're like, yeah,
Yeah.
check out my Beats, guys. And you're all listening to something way better underneath. That's doing it right.
I don't know if that makes it better or worse
How to be
because
cool in school, yet still popular with headphones.
I'm sorry.
How to be cool in school, but still use good headphones.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you guys remember the headphones that had the bass transducers in them because they couldn't put good enough speakers in them to actually create bass, so they would just shake your head?
No. Oh, I have used a gaming headset that has a similar thing where it's
The
like
vibrating thing.
Yeah, that vibrate. Did you ever try those?
Yeah.
They suck. I had one. I think it was like the Ben Heck 5.1s or something from some company.
wait.
And I remember if you cranked them up all the way, it would blur your vision. Like they shook so hard on your head, it would just seriously screw with your vision and make your jaw hurt. And I was like,
There's-
why is this a good thing?
You know that list that you've gotten me to get of all the different things that I want to try and get us to sample? One of the things is a bass enhancing vest.
Oh, that's
actually
cool,
sounds
though.
kind of cool.
That's
It's
cool.
it's like a chest piece thing that you wear. And
Yeah.
it like pulses whenever bass goes off.
That sounds pretty badass,
There's two of them.
actually.
There's one that electrocutes you, and there's one that actually has the audio transducers that just shake. I want the one that electrocutes you. That would be cool. The little muscle contractors. That
Have
would
like
be
a
awesome.
seizure on the ground while you're trying to listen to music. This is
Somebody
awesome.
shoot you in caught, and you go flipping off your desk and actually just bang your head and knock yourself out.
No, it's not. It's not like a damage vest for games. It literally just goes along with the music.
Now that'd be weird.
It's supposed to try and simulate the feeling you get when you're in a concert hall.
Yeah.
Where like it actually shakes you. It's supposed to try and replicate that.
Pretty
Weird.
cool.
I mean, I've got an audio transducer on my seat right now that shakes. I don't have it turned on right now because I don't want Linus vibrating my ass. You guys understand, but
on camera.
but I do have one, and I do like the sensation of it. It makes your, I don't know, it's weird. You can feel the bass, so it kind of tricks you, and it feels like you're hearing a deeper bass. It does. The effect works. It's believable. If you put on a crappy pair of headphones, it feels like you can hear deeper bass, even though
Right.
it's just the vibration. It's weird. It's hard to explain, but it's weird. It works.
All right, speaking of a crappy pair of headphones, Nvidia's Shield tablet doesn't come with headphones at all. So the
That's
original
the worst.
Yeah, the original poster on the forum was Sharif, and basically all I can say, aside from that I do have one, so I can't say anything about my experiences with it. This isn't a review, but all I can say is what Nvidia has said publicly. So it's going to have a Tegra K1 processor. That's four 2.2 gigahertz ARM Cortex A15 cores. It's got 2 gigs of RAM. It's got a it's got a Kepler GPU with 192 cores. Remember, guys, this is the same technology scaled down as what you'll find in a Titan, which Nvidia is very fond of telling people. Does that make it as powerful as a Titan? No.
Does it burn your hands if you play any more than 15 minutes?
The rocket kit that we have on the main floor has the same technology but scaled down of a spaceship.
Yeah, that's true. So in much the same way as that, but what it does mean is in terms of API support, it is able to do a lot more than other mobile gaming chips. So in terms of effects and in terms of
Which is cool.
taking advantage of work that Nvidia is already doing on the desktop, like GameWorks, this is stuff that might not be that significant today because the latest games, let's say Battlefield 4, you're not going to run that on this. That's not happening. But the fact that NVIDIA is moving their desktop technology into this form factor means a generation or two down the road, you might be running Battlefield 4 on NVIDIA Shield Tablet 3 or something like that. Because there's no reason that it's not capable of being ported to it. So that's really cool. That's what I like about that. It's got an 8-inch 1920 by 1200 display. It's got front-facing stereo speakers with dual bass reflex ports. It's got a mic. It's got a 32 gig configuration that's available with LTE or 16 gig Wi-Fi only. They sampled the 16 gig version, so I won't be commenting on LTE performance. 5 megapixel camera. It's got the new Direct Stylus 2 GPU accelerated stylus that actually seems to work pretty well so far from just dinking around with it. And of course it supports Game Stream, which is, gaming on your PC but on your tablet. With now a bigger screen, you can stream to Twitch, which is pretty cool. Natively, so you can just stream playing Android games to Twitch on your tablet.
Cool. Yeah.
So you can just use the built-in camera right there, go ahead and stream that baby to Twitch. And then I think the big thing here for me is the Shield controller. So it binds using Wi-Fi Direct, which is NVIDIA says very, very low latency. And you play games by putting this on a stand and then playing the game on the controller.
Now that's cool. I like that.
I'd like to hear okay, good, because I was about to ask you. Barnacules, do you have a Shield portable?
I do have a Shield. I don't have that, though. Oh, wait, never mind.
Shield...
Right here. Wait, no, that's a Nexus 7. Never mind.
Wait, do you have the handheld?
No, I don't. I didn't even know they had that.
What?
No, seriously, I didn't. I have a Shield. I don't have that.
That's what he's talking about.
Yeah, the original Shield.
No, I have the original Shield.
Yeah,
Yes.
good, okay. That's called Shield Portable now. They changed
now
the
they're
name.
going to call that Shield
Because
portable.
tablets are not portable.
Just calm yourself.
Not.
Okay. Okay, so you have a Shield portable. So give me your thoughts. Having the controller be a separate piece from the screen. Does this
100%.
still make sense to you?
No, I'd want it to be a separate part. Like if I had the option, I would absolutely want it to be a separate part.
Why?
Because I want to use the damn thing as a tablet when I want to use a tablet, and I don't want a giant ass controller in the way. Every time I try to use Twitter or Facebook with my old Nvidia Shield, it's like I'm holding an entire other object I'm not using, and it drives me nuts.
It is weird if you try and use it for anything other than gaming at all.
Exactly.
Gaming and movie watching.
But I think that they should be separate, but have a way to be put together. I think that separate controllers should have like a dock on it. That would be cool.
It would be a little bit heavy, because that was one of the first things that I kind of thought about, and I was like, yeah, but would you... Okay, so you have an Nexus 7. Would you want a Nexus 7 mounted to an Xbox 360 controller, really?
Well, actually, yeah, because I did at one point like 3D print a thing that held this on a 360 controller, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. But then again, I'm not actually using it anymore, so maybe it wasn't the coolest thing ever.
Well, we did up a Ghetto Shield as well, and we thought it was the coolest thing ever, but then I don't think either of us ever ended up actually sitting and playing a game on it. So it's one of those things where it's like...
Oh, you know what a shield is good for, though? I found a really cool use for a shield. The Parrot AR drone, the little quadricopter thing, you can fly that with the shield and watch in real time while you're flying it. So you can like fly it around corners and stuff. It's actually really cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. I think that's it. Do we have anything else for today? I think we've already run a little late. I had one other thing that was in the...
Square Enix?
Yeah, nah, not really.
They're being
Dell now accepts Bitcoin. Square Enix is being buttholes, although they're perfectly within their rights legally to take down a fan translation for Final Fantasy Type 0.
Still buttholes.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, yes, they're within their rights. Yes, I totally get it because they are localizing it for the HD remake. But it's one of those things where it's like, Square Enix, are you in a position where you need to be making yourself less popular with your fans?
If you play Game Dev Tycoon, there's a point in the game where you get an option. And I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's like fans are trying to do something with your game or whatever, and do you throw lawyers at them or do you just let them do it? And I don't remember what the reward is, but if you just let them do it, you gain a whole bunch of fans.
What is with companies like alienating fans? Like Nintendo seems to be pretty hardcore about that now with the whole taking down videos on YouTube and stuff like that.
Nintendo they're starting to work with people. They are actually starting to maybe solve that problem. But like in Square Enix's side, like if they just backed them, they wouldn't even have to do it that much. Imagine the amount of press that they would have got for supporting a fan remake. Yeah. And imagine the amount of like fans and support they would have got for doing that. Compared to the other way around.
Well, I think they're just used to having so many fans that will blindly buy the next game that they don't even need it.
But that seems to be going away.
I know. I didn't say they were still in that position. If anything, I would say they are not any longer at this point in time in that position.
Sentence.
Yeah, well, that was for emphasis. But I put it on the wrong syllable. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, there's nothing else I really think should be brought up. LG's doing good at selling phones, and that sucks because they're evil.
Really? Evil?
LG's evil?
Well, their privacy policy is, like, not very enlightened. Like, have you ever had a look
privacy? What is this? I've never heard of this privacy thing. What?
We live in America. We don't know what privacy is.
America.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, the reality of it is, it's not like they're the only ones doing it with the TV thing. They're just the ones that made headlines.
But they're doing it in a pretty brutal way.
I know. That doesn't change the fact that you're probably going to get an LG phone.
The reason why I haven't gotten it yet is because I'm still conflicted.
Oh yeah, what phone should I get now, guys? I'm thinking about selling this one. Oh my gosh.
All right, so I think the last thing left then is, Jerry, tell everyone where to find you so that they can go support you being on your own and being independent, strong, independent woman like
I'm
me.
Officially poor people now, guys, so I need your support. And I'm over at the www.barnnerd, yeah, the barn, like where the cows are, nerd.com. And that's where I'm going to be living the rest of my life, probably.
That's where he's going to make C and C++ videos.
I'm going to make C# and maybe some C and C++ videos. And if I'm really going to be masochistic, I'll make some batch file tutorials.
Oh, that would actually be really cool. I'd be down.
Because I think you guys would love how to make like little destructive batch files that delete your Windows directory and piss you off really, really bad. Yeah. I'm just kidding. I won't do that. I would never do that.
All right. Thanks, guys, for tuning into the WAN show. Thanks to our guest, Barnacules, for joining us and his little friend down there. And I think that pretty much does it. We'll see you again, same bad time, same bad channel next week. Peace out.
Bye, everyone. Peace.